Hey, it's Mike from the Run Testers. In this video, I'm going to be talking about a new pair of bone conduction headphones, and they are not from AfterShokz. So these are the Naenka Runner Pro. I think I'm saying that correctly. We'll just call them Runner Pro for the rest of the video. So these are bone conduction headphones. They are from a Chinese company. They sell on Amazon. They sell directly from their own website. Essentially, you're getting a pair of bone conduction headphones that can stream music over Bluetooth, and it also has a built-in music player as well. So what's interesting about that is obviously AfterShokz do have a pair of headphones, so the X trainers. They offer a built-in music player. The only problem with that is that it only offers a music player and doesn't offer the option of Bluetooth streaming as well. So with these headphones, you get the option of both. They're cheaper than the X trainers as well. So myself and Nick have had a pair to test out. We've been running with them, seeing what they're made of. I'm going to take you through kind of the key design and features of these headphones. Then we'll get into the run test, and then we'll give you our verdict on whether you should buy the Naenka Runner Pro. So let's just run through those key features you get on the Naenka Runner Pro. We'll start with the price, and they come in at £93.60 in the UK and $118.99 from the US from Amazon. They weigh 33 grams and have an IPX8 waterproof rating, which means they can be submerged in water and are safe for swimming. In the box, you've got the proprietary charging cable, some earplugs for using during swimming, and a rubber tie if you want to adjust the fit. On the headphones, there's physical buttons to switch between play modes and adjust volume. Those volumes buttons can also be used and held to skip through tracks. There's a single LED light that flashes blue to indicate when it's in Bluetooth pairing mode, or stays blank when it's in music player mode. Now, in terms of that music player, you've got 8 GB of storage, giving you room for roughly 1,500 songs. And it's compatible with WAV, MP3, APE and WMA file formats. That's double the storage you get on the AfterShokz trainers. You need to drag and drop the files to the headphones when they're connected to your computer using the included charging cable. Battery life is around 6 to 7 hours, which is about an hour short of what you can expect to get from something like the AfterShokz Apex headphones. So in terms of general running performance, I will start with kind of fit and comfort. And for me, they have been pretty solid on the front. They remind me a lot of the kind of AfterShokz Apex and the Open Move in terms of look, in terms of feel, and in terms of how these are light to wear. They're very light to wear, very unobtrusive, I think, and generally been no issues for me. I've worn them with or without hats, and it hasn't been an issue kind of wearing them in that kind of way. In terms of the kind of controls, the controls are quite closely put together, but I think once you kind of get used to it and you've done a few runs, you can kind of get used to switching between the two music modes, but also kind of changing volume and skipping tracks. I definitely favour those type of buttons, those kind of physical buttons, in comparison to kind of the tap sensitive or kind of swiping kind of controls you get on some truly wireless earbuds. So for me, the controls work really nice. They're basic, but ultimately that's kind of what I prefer in terms of when I'm out running. In terms of that sound performance, now obviously you are going to make some kind of compromises in audio quality. Now, it was pretty bad in those kind of early days of bone conduction headphones, and it has got better. Now obviously this is about, you know, giving you that awareness of your environment, but also letting you hear your audio. So for me, generally, I think the sound quality is up there with AfterShokz headphones. I think you get decent kind of bass response. I think there's kind of good clarity and detail of kind of listening to podcasts, kind of more kind of vocal based music as well. Now, I generally listen to a lot of kind of up-tempo stuff, so a lot of drum and bass stuff, a lot of house, and I actually think these hold up pretty well. It's not tinny, it's not kind of erratic in kind of that sound performance. You get good kind of bass on that, and I think when you turn up to their kind of max volume with bone conduction headphones, you tend to get a little bit of that kind of tickle from the kind of technology and the way it delivers that audio. Now for me, you do get that on these headphones, but it's not severe enough, I think, or was severe enough for me to take them off or feel that they were uncomfortable to listen to. So I think you will get a little bit of that tickle, but I don't think it's as bad as what you used to get on bone conduction headphones, and generally it's been fine for me. A little note outside of running, I have been swimming with these as well, using the music player feature, obviously because Bluetooth streaming doesn't really work in the water. They've been good on that front as well. I think they're up there with the X trainers in terms of performance. So if you care about swing rhythm as well, I think they're a really good option for that as well. But generally, the Runner Pro has been good for me in the conditions that I've been in. I've run in dry conditions, I've run in rainy conditions, and also obviously been swimming with them. And from a durability point of view, they seem to hold up so far. I should talk about battery life now. Essentially, you're getting around 6 to 7 hours Bluetooth streaming now. Naenka doesn't really quote what you should be getting with the music player, but what I will say is it reminds me a lot of what you're getting in terms of when you are kind of using the music player on your Garmin watch, for instance. Now, it is going to drain the battery a lot quicker. Now, I will say in the music player mode, you're probably getting half that kind of quoted 6 to 7 hours battery for Bluetooth streaming, which I think that's the number attached to Bluetooth streaming. The Bluetooth streaming, an hour of running knocked the battery by about 10%. So not amazing, but it's kind of what I expected. So it's not a huge drop off, but it means you're going to get a decent amount of sessions of running with them, and they should last you a fair amount of time. Now, in terms of when it comes to charging, now the cable that comes with this is a magnetic style charging cable, kind of clips inside of the headphones. Now, what I will say, it's quite flimsy. Now, if you're charging, you know, I'd be very aware of where you're putting it, keeping it away from things, making sure it can't get knocked out of place, because it is very flimsy and can be easily knocked out of place. And that kind of applies to when you are syncing music, when you're connecting it to computer sync music, just making sure that that cable is in place, because it can easily be knocked out of place. And that's one of the kind of biggest kind of annoying things that I found with these headphones generally, is that cable is not great, whether you're charging or whether you're syncing. So battery life, generally good, not class leading, a little bit less than what you get in the AfterShokz, but I think good enough for Bluetooth streaming, and not so great on kind of when you're using the music player mode. So overall, running performance has been pretty solid for me, from a fit, sound quality, and also battery performance.
So I've used the Naenka headphones for kind of a series of runs, just kind of my general normal training, and generally they've been quite impressive. I've had really high hopes for them because I am quite a big fan of the AfterShokz X trainers as MP3 players, you know, as well as headphones. And the fact that these are actually obviously Bluetooth headphones as well is a massive plus point compared to the AfterShokz. And on my first run of them, actually I took them down to the track, and they were great. Like, you know, the sound actually was pretty good quality. I could hear it really easily. I always wear kind of glasses when I run now. I use kind of prescription glasses and a hat, and these fit really well around that. There wasn't any problems kind of interacting with my glasses frames and the hat and all that. So yeah, I enjoyed it. You can switch very easily between Bluetooth and MP3. The controls are really quick and easy to use, and all was good. And on the cycle to and from the track, it was, you know, I actually went very early in the morning, and they were good as well then. There was no other cars on the road. However, since then I've done a few runs by busy road, which is where I do a lot of my training. I'm not a very exciting runner. I use quite a lot of busy road running, kind of long flat stretches for my marathon training. I did think that these weren't quite loud enough a lot of the time. Especially as I mostly listen to podcasts. With music it was kind of okay, but with podcasts you can kind of just about hear what's going on, but it takes a bit more concentration, and yeah, I certainly could do with them just being a little bit louder. I think the AfterShokz range are slightly louder. So yeah, on those quiet roads when I was cycling in the morning and on the track, they were really good, and I think they'd be quite okay in races, and problem might come actually on the really busy races like something like the London Marathon. They might actually not be loud enough to drown out the crowd, but it is certainly a massive plus point being able to switch between Bluetooth and MP3. Although I will say, like Mike, that I found that the MP3 player did drain the battery quite quickly. I think I was probably going to look at around kind of 2, 3, 4 hours. Whereas if you're just using the Bluetooth, you're looking at more like 7 hours. So that's quite a big disparity there. So yeah, like I said, having Bluetooth and MP3 could make these, you know, real AfterShokz killers for me. Like, I love having MP3 players in my headphones. I really wish someone would release like a really good set of either ear hook or in-ear headphones that had just a small amount of storage for your music. I think that'd be really useful for races. And you know, I do occasionally use the AfterShokz X trainers in races because I don't tend to carry my phone with me, and they have a little bit of kind of music storage. And you know, in some races you have to have that kind of open ear design. These have a couple of problems though. That the battery life will drain so quickly in MP3 player mode might mean that if you're looking at kind of 3.5, 4, 5, 6 hours for a marathon, say, or even longer events, they might not last the whole thing, and that's obviously going to be a bit of a pain. Other problem I have is that the sound was just maybe not quite loud enough. On a busy event like the London Marathon, you're probably going to struggle to hear them. The charging cable was a little bit fiddly as well. That's another small issue. That's not too much of a problem. In general, I found the controls were okay to use, and the fact it is kind of that really quick switch between Bluetooth and MP3 is really nice. Yeah, I think overall I probably wouldn't want to use them all the time. Like for my training, I think they'd probably be a bit too quiet to use all the time by busy roads. So yeah, they're all in all, they're a pretty solid set of headphones. They're not actually a load cheaper than the AfterShokz. You can get cheaper AfterShokz headphones, without the MP3 player functionality. But they do have that dual option there of having the MP3 player as well. That's really handy. Obviously, you can use them for swimming as well. They're a decent, solid set of headphones. But I do think the battery life and the kind of general volume of them is going to be a bit of a problem for a lot of people, even though the actual sound quality, when you can hear it, is actually pretty okay.
So my verdict on the Naenka Runner Pro is, if you're looking for a pair of bone conduction headphones that offer Bluetooth streaming and a built-in music player, you can actually go swimming with these as well. They've been safety and have been fine for me. Then these are a really good option to consider. I think kind of comfort and fit wise have been absolutely fine. Remind me a lot of the kind of AeroPex from AfterShokz. They're very light to wear, very unobtrusive, I think. In terms of sound performance, I think overall it's kind of up there with kind of the better kind of AfterShokz options that you have. And maybe like a little bit more in terms of top volume if you're running kind of in busier roads generally. But for me, in the running environments that I've been, they've been generally fine in terms of the sound quality and performance you get from them. In terms of battery life, kind of, you're getting there or thereabouts, kind of 7 maybe hours in Bluetooth streaming, definitely less in music player mode, and also just be wary of the charging cable and also for kind of syncing your music over that. It's a bit flimsy, so it's definitely something to be mindful of. But if you kind of compare it to the X trainers, which obviously doesn't have that Bluetooth streaming, has less storage, so the X trainers have 4 gigabytes, this has 8 gigabytes, so more room for music. These are a really good option, and they are cheaper than the X trainers as well. Very similar in terms of pricing for the AeroPex, but obviously you are not getting that option of the music player here. So for me, the Naenka Runner Pro, really actually solid bone conduction headphones, ones that I've enjoyed using and ones that I would absolutely recommend. So there you have it. That is our take on the Naenka Runner Pro. Now, if you've got any questions about our testing or in general about bone conduction headphones, running headphones, let us know in the comments. As always, like and subscribe, hit that little bell to find out about the latest videos. And yeah, we'll see you in the next Run Testers video.